shine on Happy Camper Life. We're loving, living, and learning online on Happy Camper Life.
Hey everybody, I'm Courtney Ortiz and I am your host of the My Camp podcast. Welcome. You're joining me live today here in the Girls HC, and I'm really excited to introduce you to my new camp friend, Bekah Kanable. She sits on the board for the Star Lake Wilderness Camp, and she's really here to talk to us today about their program, the Star Lake Camp Out Loud. So welcome, Bekah. Welcome to the Girls HC. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So everybody has a really great camp origin story. What's yours? Did you go to camp as a kid?
I went to this camp, Star Lake Wilderness Camp, growing up. My grandpa was on the board that helped found the camp. So I'm actually third generation, and I have been bringing the fourth generation with to camp at the same location that's been open since the 60s.
There is nothing. So you are camp legacy. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a word, legacy. And I'm sure that makes your grandfather so proud. I don't know if he's still living, but to be able to know that what he created can be passed down to the generations. So Star Lake Camp itself is a facility that other organizations can rent out for like programming, correct?
Yeah, we host a couple groups in the St. Cloud area for some Somali kids. We also like to try to serve underprivileged youth that often come from the reservations and things like that. So what I love most about us is that we're a nonprofit. So our biggest goal is to just get kids in the woods and learning about nature despite their ability to pay. So we work with other local nonprofits and organizations to be able to get kids up to camp, and then just ask donors and sponsors to help with those costs, just to get kids the experience.
Right, get them to camp. But what do you do during the year? Because I find that's very interesting. It's going to lead me to my next question.
Yes, so I am a speech language pathologist. I work in a public elementary school with kiddos kindergarten through second grade. So Star Lake is one of my favorite things, but it's all volunteer work that I do a little bit more on the side, some people would say.
So I think one of the weeks that you guys do at Star Lake Camp is your Out Loud week-long program. So tell me a little bit, what is that? What's Out Loud?
Yes, so Star Lake Out Loud is a camp with programming specifically designed for kids who stutter. And, it was kind of with after COVID time, finding campers, is something that I think other camps are certainly beginning to struggle with a little bit more. And so I just took a step back and just started thinking about how can I get kids in the woods, and what are maybe some populations of kiddos that I work with that could use more support outside of the services and the things that they receive here at school. And it was just one of those aha moments. I love working with the stuttering population. And so I thought, how awesome would it be to have a week for those kids to be able to come together and share their life journey, but also get that wilderness adventure piece.
And probably then surround themselves with people where they can feel comfortable, because I'm sure, growing up with a stutter, there's a stigma with that, you're embarrassed, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
So to be able to provide that, which is, in my opinion, a universal theme of camp is a place where kids and adults can go and be comfortable and be themselves and surround themselves with love. So what you're providing there is so incredible. And this is like a baby camp, right? I mean, not for babies, but in terms of it's how long it's been around, it's still like it's your little baby. Did you start this program on your own?
I did, yes. So I graduated with my master's. I was working for a little while. I realized, wow, these kids who stutter really do have a piece of my heart. And so when I kind of had that aha moment, I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And it has been an incredible journey. It took a couple of years just doing research about other camps for kids who stutter that are out there. What is their model? What is their philosophy? In speech therapy, there's kind of two different philosophies about how to work with people who stutter. And so it was kind of finding that what is mine? What makes us unique? As a stuttering camp, but what, philosophy do we fall under? And the more I researched and the more I talked with others in the field that are kind of in this business, I just realized that being comfortable, being yourself, gaining confidence in communication, whether it's stuttered or not, was kind of the direction that I wanted to go. And once I had a direction, then it was just reaching out as much as I could to find other speech pathologists with that similar philosophy. And then I put together just a small group of us. We call ourselves the curriculum team. And we said, okay, we have a space. We have this outdoor adventure piece. What does the stuttering piece look like? What are some of those topics that we want to discuss with the kids and things like that? So we met for almost a year just to collect ideas and activities and discussion points that could fit in a camp setting. It's different than being in a clinic or being here at school, and incorporating as much of wilderness and activities that other kids would do at camp in with our discussions and things. So that took a little while. And then our first summer, we had 4 kids registered and a couple of them backed out last minute, which that was okay. We started just with 2. And the year after that, we had 7. And then we had 10. And so my goal for this year is anywhere in the 10 to 15 range. And I just keep telling myself that if we can just get those few more each year, pretty soon we're going to have 2 weeks of camp just to fit them all in.
So what does a week, since it's only 1 week, so it's really special. You can't just choose any week out of the summer. It's this 1 week. What does that week look like? Sell it to me.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm always the first one on the schedule because we all know that for Minnesota weather, you want to be in that mid-July range. The rain of June is over. It's warm, it's sunny, but it hasn't gotten too muggy terrible yet. So we get that prime week sometime in the middle of July. Kids come up on Sunday and it's just full of icebreakers and getting to know you. We are a tent camping place. So kids haul all of their gear through the woods to get to their platform tent sites. And they just kind of learn about what their site looks like, what it has. They learn about their camp chores. And so collecting water, going to the main building to get their food bins, because we also believe in teaching kids wilderness survival skills. So they cook their meals over the fire. So once they have gotten their food from the main building, the camp counselors help them bring it back, prepare it, teach them about making sure that meat is properly cooked all the way through, things like that over the fire. The kids are so worn out, it doesn't matter what it is that they're eating. We do have some Star Lake favorites though. They chow it all down. And then there's dish cleanup. Things like that. Usually a good nightlife activity. We got to get that Ghosts in the Graveyards going and everything like that. And we just wear them out before bedtime. And that next day focuses mostly on team building and continuing to get to know each other. That's kind of when the SLPs start to jump in a little bit more with some of our structured discussion times and things like that. We have a beautiful pavilion with a fire pit that provides some protection if it is a little drizzly or overly sunny, where we meet with the campers. We eat lunch all together, and then beach time. Beach time is
Oh.
always the favorite, right? So the kids hike on down to the beach and they just get a couple hours to do the beach life and the fishing, canoeing, kayaking. We always have crafts and things prepared for those kids that maybe don't need as much time in the water. And then we just start with that dinner time routine again, and nightlife, and always a dessert every night. And
Yes.
the dessert.
Mhm. What's a favorite dessert? What has the kids cheering?
The kids, s'mores. We have competitions to see who can eat the most s'mores.
Oh.
We have a camper who has by far won the battle.
And how many was that? How many s'mores do you need to eat to win?
I think it was seven
Oh, yeah.
s'mores.
When in Rome, right? Like it's only a week. You're
Right.
gonna go
It's
big or go home.
exactly.
You had
My
mentioned too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
one called Uglies. I don't know if that's one that a lot of other camps do, but it is this wonderful dough wrapped around a stick, and then baked in the fire. And then when it's all finished, it comes off the stick, so it has a hole inside for all of your butter and cinnamon brown sugar. Mm.
I'm making a note. I'm gonna put that on my what's that called again?
And ugly,
And
because when it's
ugly.
cooked in the fire, it comes out just looking brown and not great, but oh man,
You hear that,
I
campers?
love it.
2025 is going to be the summer of the ugly. Stay
Yeah.
tuned. I love that. I love that. You had mentioned that there's like some favorite like meals. What are some of the favorite meals that the kids like?
Oh, the kids,
But they're cooking it all themselves. You said they're cooking
they're cooking
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
most meals, unless we've got some crazy something going on in the middle of the day. One meal that I think surprises the most kids is toad in the hole. So it's just toast with the center of the bread cut out and the egg in that center of the cutout piece of bread. And most kids are like, bread, eggs,
Right.
what? Together in one. But again, when you get that nice fire
Yeah.
toasted roastedness, oh, it is so fun just to see them go from, I don't think I'm going to eat breakfast this morning, to, do we have more bread? I need to make myself another one.
Yeah, because
So
they're hungry. They're exerting so much energy. Sometimes, like you said, they just eat it because they're hungry. And I love it. Like you're teaching life skills. These kids are going to be making this their first meal in college, you know?
yes.
How long? So they come on a Sunday, and then how long is the week? Is that 5 days, 7 days?
We right now have been ending on Thursday, but our
Okay.
hope we continue to grow and we spread the word more and we have more kids returning to camp each year. We'll kind of be able to stretch that into that probably until Saturday mark would be our goal.
And how do you recruit staff? Like how, since it's just the week, is it all volunteer?
Yes, right now our SLP base is volunteer. So I do some mailings and I go to our state conference and we just spread through word of mouth to get speech pathologist volunteers. And then, that what I love most about working with Star Lake Wilderness Camp is I don't have to worry about finding the camp counselors or the cook or anything like
Okay,
that
right.
because they're all there and ready for the week.
Okay.
So one of my biggest jobs then, because I'm kind of the one in both worlds, is just to make sure that we have, clear communication between that volunteer SLP base
Right.
and our camp staff. And just making sure that everybody knows who's in charge of the kids when, what activities are going on through the day.
Right.
How can you, as maybe someone, a camp counselor with less experience with kids who stutter, support them on their journey this week? And, some of those pieces. So my role is kind of more of a liaison role that makes sure that the two worlds are colliding nicely.
Yeah, it's a learning experience for counselors, like you said, who don't have experience, because it teaches
Mhm.
them how to, react in a socially acceptable way when they're hearing someone, stuttering for the first time, stuttering for the first time. But what I
Yeah.
think the beauty of having this camp that's just exclusively a week is that you allow like the best SLP, speech language pathologists to come, because it's only a week of their time. And so it's hard for people to take off 2 months to work at a sleepaway camp.
Yes.
So, and adults get to experience the joy of camp, and you're getting like people that really highly qualified people in their fields, which is got to be great.
Yes, I have learned so much from some of the speech paths that have stuck around with me since the beginning of this journey or close to it. Um, and, we work together. I do have a couple that own their own private practices. And so one will say, I can come the first 2 days, but I got to get back for these couple of people who need me. And the other is like, well, then I'll just front load that week and I'll come and, participate in the second half of the week. So it just kind of takes a team effort. But then it's just, I love the experience that comes with them and the different experiences they've had. And my favorite is just that some of these SLPs are falling in love with Star Lake Wilderness Camp just as much as I did growing up, and that the campers do. They want to come back year after year after year, because spending that week in the wilderness, unplugging, and just having less time with technology and really
Oh.
being able to look inward and look outward at nature, it does something to the soul, and it keeps people coming back.
Oh, I mean, heading into my 8th summer at our camp. So, it's
Yeah.
once it gets a hold of you, it's hard for it to let go.
Yeah.
Wow. So this summer, how many kids did you say you have currently registered for,
Right now, we have 5 registered, and I know that we have a few more that just got to finish filling out the paperwork and get it submitted. So
of course.
it's only March. We got time.
Oh, so it's a lot of times summer is such a last minute decision for parents, Oh my gosh, school's out. What are we gonna do now?
Yes.
Amazing. Oh, what was I? Oh, I had what are the age ranges of the kids that you serve?
Yeah, so we serve age 8 through 17 right now. And that is a wide range for
Yes.
some of these kids. They're coming with such different experiences with their stuttering journey, but also just their life journey, being 8 versus being 17. So we make sure that we spend some focused time with the younger kids doing certain activities, and then with the older kids doing other activities. We have one camper who will be returning for his 3rd summer. So he started out as one of our more little kids, and he's moving his way on up to being one of our more bigger kids. So looking to find ways for him to be able to participate in more of a leadership role,
Right.
things like that. And then again, ultimately, I would love for 2 weeks of camp where we can serve that younger group all together and have a separate week more devoted for some of those older kids that
Right.
are just coming in with a little bit more life experience to want to talk about, and yeah.
So give me a story of a win, like where you really felt like the fruits of your labor, a good win story for Camp Out Loud.
Oh my goodness. I would say we usually send an after camp survey. And we had one camper, who he was an older one taking on a little bit more of a leadership role. And it was a little hard to gauge what he was thinking throughout the week. Just a little bit more of a reserved soul. He was enjoying himself, but I just kind of wondered, like, I hope he's taking something away. How can we connect with him better? Things like that. And after camp, his SLP reached out and she said, oh my goodness, he is so much more willing to just talk. Whether it's again talking about stuttering or just talking about life or about what he did that day, that she said he just came out of his shell in a way that she hadn't seen in the 2 years that she'd been working with him. And for me, that was just, yes, that moment of We did it. We did what we have been called to do, and that is to make a child feel more comfortable in their own skin or more confident in their communication and realize that it doesn't matter how I say it. It's what I say that people value. And that was amazing.
Feel like mic drop. Like that was great. All right, so what about a funny story? You got a good funny story from camp?
Oh my goodness, so many. We have one camper, he's coming back this year, and he brought his metal detector. And that
Ooh.
was just the things he found in the sand, you
Oh, I
know,
bet.
funny in amongst themselves, but also just his dedication to searching the whole beach. And they just seeing him out there and just the way that the other campers, just gravitated toward that and the way they would get excited over like a rusty old nail, like
Treasure,
the
treasure,
treasure.
Bekah.
Yes.
100%. So, where can someone go if they wanted to find out more about even Star Lake Wilderness Camp or Out Loud, or you're at SLP that love to give a week of your time at the beach?
Yes.
Where can we
Yes.
find out about you?
Yes, if you're just interested in learning more about Star Lake Wilderness Camp and some of our programs that we offer, weeks that we have available, you can go to starlakewildernesscamp.org. If you're interested specifically as a speech pathologist or family of a child who stutters, our website is starlakeoutloud.org. I'm also an ally of stuttering through Spiro Stuttering, so you can find my work information through their website when you search for a clinician that has an emphasis in stuttering.
Interesting. Well, this has been, Bekah, an absolute pleasure getting to know you and getting to know about this camp. And honestly, I think, and stop me if I've said it, but camps start because they find a need in the community, and you found a need and you started a camp and you changed that kid's life. And so great job, guys. I highly recommend check out their website, learn more about Star Lake Wilderness Camp and their Out Loud program. It really, like, when I saw that it was stuttering, my son stutters, so it hit a little place in my heart, and I was really fascinated about that. So thank you for the work that you're doing. I'm very appreciative. And guys, thank you for listening today. Please check out their website. If you want to hear more about my camp, you can listen to this podcast where you find listen to your podcast, or you can find Happy Camper Live on YouTube. That being said, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you back here in the Girls HC, and I'll save a s'more for you.
Yum. Thank you.